We're back in On the Spot, October 7th, 2011. I got something to tell you about, brother. I've been getting calls from various groups that's talking about they're not getting the money that was allocated from the state budget, the on-time state budget.
New York State legislation has allocated funds to nonprofits and grants, and they do the valid and important work in the community on the ground.
Exactly.
So
I reached out to Dean Skelos' office.
Okay.
I mean, he's the majority leader of the state senate, New York City, New York State.
New York State.
Reached out to Dean.
Right.
I spoke to Sally, spoke to somebody else, and I believe I wound up speaking to his press secretary, which is Scott. I don't have the last name off the top of my head.
Right.
Said we want to come out there and interview the senator on what's happening with the money.
Right.
So you start feeling like you're getting. When I spoke to him, I was traveling because they were supposed to call me back, and I'm driving. And Scott comes up with, "Well, can you give me a list of the people of the various groups that didn't get the money and what happened?" So I asked Scott. I said, "Well, Scott, here's my problem.
Right.
One, I just like to talk to the senator, but number two, did the groups, because this goes Republican, Democrat, Independent.
Right.
The money has been allocated since April.
Where's the distribution?
On time, what's going on?
Right.
There's people that's in state government that said they've never seen anything like that.
Okay.
Where we're coming up, a new budget coming up in another few months.
It's round the corner.
And I believe we got about $137 billion state budget.
Yeah.
And the groups don't have it. So we're reaching out to Dean. We're going to stay on top of this. Dean Skelos, State Senator, Majority Leader.
That'll be an on-the-spot investigation.
And I think I'm going to have to go up there with the cameras and run in his office or run up to Albany and run in their office.
That's the power of independent media.
OTS, we're going to put him on the spot.
We're going to put him on the spot. That's what On the Spot's about. So we're going to stay on that.
Yes, we want to find out. These groups do a lot of very good work.
Right.
They stay on this youth services, domestic violence, all type of things.
Amazing, not only feeding the poor and the hungry in our community.
Things that the state can't do.
Can't do. They reach out. So it's a valid, and now we're in a very, no doubt a recession. So these things are needed. So we're going to follow up on it. That's a good one.
We're going to follow up on it. But part of switching that up, we have a crime problem.
New York, as we used to say growing up, they said that the block is hot.
Yes.
Well, it seems like New York is on fire.
Well, they keep telling us crime is down. When they tell us that, I believe that's just for the tourist area.
Well, you know what? You're looking at the situation and you're seeing from Staten Island, a young child got shot in the head.
In the eye.
In the eye, yeah. So luckily she is recuperating. But we just in Brooklyn, we had folks that were literally like 4 dead right on Marcus Garvey Boulevard, places with people around. These are children coming home.
About 3 weeks ago, yes, I think we had about 8 people got shot.
Right.
During the Labor Day around that time.
And then you get a live feed of anything that's coming out. And it's something one night you just had to literally go to gunshots that were around the way, so to speak.
Police is shooting people.
So we got a real issue now. The issue is now, what does the clergy, elected, officials come together to come up with a distinct program to look at what's going on in our communities?
Well,
this is a serious problem.
I don't know. The clergy hasn't been involved in things since borderline the civil rights era.
Well, it's true.
This is a new era of clergy.
Yeah.
Just put more money in the plate.
Well, you're getting controversial there, but you're not wrong, because in the instance that we're saying is, what is the quality of life, whether it be your religious life or your day-to-day life? So we can't, I always go to the thing is, you say that you're a concerned parent, and you can think about that your child, you can't watch your child all the time, but they walk the streets, and these guys are shooting gals. A bullet doesn't have any eyes. It doesn't care.
My mentality has changed. I work law enforcement, been in corrections for 22 years.
Right.
And I have changed.
You've changed in the beginning.
When I remember when I first started the job and I went through the prisons,
right,
went through the jails, and you saw 95, 97% black and Hispanic, and it's like, this is our people here.
Of course. But
fast forward, 21 years later,
right,
22 years later, I could care less.
What? You put her on the...
I could care less.
This is the issue.
I'm tired of it.
You're tired of that.
Listen to me. I want you to hear this. I want everybody to hear this. Listen at this here. Enough is enough. We've made excuses. I hear intelligent radio of color and everybody else. They're now changed their mindset of where they used to say they always, well, we don't have the jobs. We don't.
Right.
We understand we don't have jobs, and that's a big problem in our community. But I'm tired of making excuses.
There you go.
This is a new young generation where all they want to do is say, I was putting in work.
Okay.
I'm putting in work.
I'm putting in work.
I'm busting my gun.
Okay.
They have no value for life. They don't care.
Out.
You shooting the old lady. You
Or
shooting the people in his wheelchair.
A
The
grandmother.
little kid, 2 years old, got shot in the eye.
Well, see, now this is our biggest issue now. We're going to, and I think On the Spot really is going to develop a consistent conversation about this. Really looking at, in the community, our situation.
Gun violence.
Gun violence.
Gun violence. When do we say we have a lost generation?
Right.
We can make every excuse for whatever we want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the jobs is not there.
But
and unemployment in our community is about 20%.
Easily.
While they talk about national is 9.1, and this is a major problem. Where you don't talk about the black community is 20%.
So it goes back to, if you have what we could call a respected positions, we gotta take and claim that clergy, elected political officials, very important people in our community, they have to step up to the plate.
You know what I say?
What?
Build more jails. They gotta go. Enough is enough. Listen to me.
Norm is opening the door
enough
to
is enough.
major. Build more.
I actually call
that's deep.
Execution. And I don't mean in a literal point.
But the idea
enough is
that,
let's stop making excuses for
okay,
these people.
so
they gotta go.
Interestingly enough,
They gotta go. We gotta put them someplace.
You and President Obama, is that the same line as stop complaining?
President Obama with that. That's a different story.
That's a different story.
He might lose half of the support just for that crap he said.
Yeah, right there.
But
I tend to disagree up to a point.
Oh.
I do believe that the environment of making sure that there are jobs does create a very serious situation.
Really? When the young kids, they don't care. This is blood, Crips, and everything. This is what they care about.
So
they don't even want to. They're not. It's not even about money for them.
They don't even. It's just.
They're not. In hustling years ago, they was hustling to try to make some money.
That's true.
These kids is talking about game colors. And they could care less
about that.
And guess what? My job is this here.
Right.
To protect the good kids. We don't do enough talking about the good kids.
We have to.
My son is in grad school, and one of these kids, if he stepped on his sneakers, and he's harmless.
Right.
But one of these kids, if he stepped on his sneakers, they'll kill him.
So we have to
because
look
they
at
got
that.
so much inner rage in them, and they got access to a firearm.
This is true. So
they have no value for life. So I'm at a point. Enough is enough. We got too many good kids doing positive things that's never talked about.
And we really do have to focus on that.
Yes,
we do.
We got kids going to school doing the right thing, and guess what? All we talk about is which hip hop guy got out of jail, so we can give him an award. So he could go. So he could go on award shows because he came. They get awards for coming in our community.
It's crazy.
How do you explain that? How do they get awards for coming out of jail?
So we go On the Spot's got to have a specific show that we're going to do on firearms and the whole issue of the industry. What's going on? How are these guns getting in our community at the level that they are?
And the violence in our community.
It's causing.
We might have to do a town hall.
I think we know that'll
be a town hall on the violence in our community and community policing. Community policing.
Invite some of the political officials that we're going to put on the spot.
Yes.
So
until next week. On the Spot.
We'll
be back.
I'm Steve Thompson.
Norman Graham. We're out.